Welcome to Zero Fucks Given.
Thank you. I feel very welcome. Was there supposed to be more?
Shit. I'm Krista. Joined with me is Carson and Freddy. How are you guys?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Are you going to stop working for a
I'm
second?
I'm doing.
No, seriously, how are you?
I'm doing very well. You know why? We're ending the year with Monster Alpha.
That's right.
And I'm not. I'm not talking about the fact that we just did some campaigns and I was just in London doing campaigns. I'm not talking about that Monster Alpha. I'm talking about the Monster Alpha that's over your shoulder right there. So our stuffy monster.
It's very popular.
Alpha. So yeah, I'm very happy that we're ending the year with Monster Alpha, number one. And number two,
time?
And I'm also happy because the state of academia, and by that I'm not referring to, the anti-Semitism, and I'm talking about Josh Mitz. This dude doing a fucking faceplant hard.
I think it's the single biggest Schadenfreude moment of the year for you.
Oh my god!
We actually just saw your cum face.
I went through 3 pairs of fucking underwear while I was in London, and this dude did.
And for a guy like you, that's not just because he was flying on a plane to London, all right, guys? It's a totally separate thing, okay? Oh,
yeah.
But
no, that was great. So if anybody is
Fill us
watching or listening and doesn't know what we're talking about, Josh Mitz, fake law professor. Unfortunately, Columbia still keeps this, fucking academic fraud around. But I've warned the world, and I warned.
He's warned the world.
A guy named Rob Jackson. He used to be an SEC commissioner. He's a professor at NYU, law professor. And I like Rob. I respect Rob. But I warned Rob. But anyway, so Rob let Mitz stick his name on this article, or this, air quotes, research paper that Mitz, I think it was primarily Mitz's shoddy work, because I'll recognize that kind of errata and bullshit anywhere. But, where Mitz is concluding that, look at the shorting of Bank Leumi ahead of the October 7th attacks. Obviously they knew about Hamas attacking. And the first mistake was that Mitz didn't realize that the shares were quoted in basically cents. So Mitz is like, it's, $3.2 billion of profit, or 32 billion shekels. It's like, hey, dickhead, divide that by 100. That's your first mistake. And that took literally minutes for the Israeli exchange to come out and say. But then they also got into the technicalities of why it's very difficult, to borrow stock if you're Hamas in, given how Israel trades. And then it also looks like, some others have then analyzed it, and it looks like these were technical movements, technical buildups of short interest that happen at regular intervals, and were also mirrored in other banks in other indices around the globe. And at the end of the day, this dude's trying to play fucking Academic Rambo, and he just face planted.
And the biggest sin that he committed here.
What is the biggest sin?
Is not his horrifically erroneous analysis, which is just, that's de rigueur for Josh Mitz. It's the DEI faux pas here, because as any respecting Master of the Universe, Protocols of the Elders of Zion member like myself knows, the better trade would have been the currency, you dumb schmuck.
Absolutely, the fucking currency.
The racial, the kind of racial profiling of Hamas's lay moronic animals to understand that they would only short the equities as opposed to getting leverage in the currency. Really, Josh, that's I believe a microaggression, and that's probably enough. If academic fraud doesn't work to get you kicked out of your chair at Columbia, failure to observe the DEI policy there, that might be what does it for him.
That actually
could be
more realistic chance. I mean, I can't wait for the day to sit Shiva over his career. But yeah, like I think you know his whole approach to everything he does is like choose the narrative first, and then go and like you know twist data and this and that. And actually, you know, I was wondering if this thought was a bridge too far, and I really don't think so. But I think with Mitz, this is emblematic of the rot of the academy that really has come about because of DEI, where it's, you know, it's like we got to choose the narrative first. We have to twist the data and the facts. We have to ignore the things that are inconvenient or run contrary to our narrative. And, you know, like, look, you could on the surface say, well, he's taking an anti-Hamas position here, so that's counter DEI. But I think it's the whole just hollowing out of academic rigor in the academy that DEI has wrought, that's enabled like Josh Mitz to actually have a fucking career here. You know, where it just where the only thing that matters is narrative and not whether it's supported by data and facts.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure. He still have a career?
He still has it. For that reason. Well, it's also in part. So it's interesting. So, you know, Bill Ackman recently waged this campaign to try to get Claudine Gay, right, of Harvard, who's the president, canned. And so Harvard just yesterday, I mean, as of the day that we're filming on Wednesday, Harvard just yesterday, officially their trustees decided to retain her. And what's been reported is that supposedly the reason they did that was because they didn't want to be seen as caving into Bill Ackman. And so I kind of wonder when, you know, we raise these issues, or I raise these issues to Columbia about Mitz's academic fraud, like, you know, I've got a whole white paper on this called Distorting the Shorts. It's on SSRN if you want to download it, where I make, I think, a clear case that Mitz committed academic fraud in his Short and Distort paper by misrepresenting fraudulently the data. You know, I think that Columbia's whole thing was like, I mean, some of the professors, like this guy, Eric Talley, circled the wagon. Mitz's mentor there, John Coffey, who's like this well-regarded corporate law professor of prostitution. Those guys like absolutely circle the wagons to protect Mitz. So I think it's something similar here to what Harvard's done with Bill Ackman and trying to protect Claudine Gay. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the, like, when I look at the academy, you know, parts of it, you know, I'm talking like the top tier elite, Columbia, Harvard, you know, like Penn, really, it's hard not to look at that and agree with the people who are like, BIFTD, burn it the fuck down. BTIFD.
Actually, speaking of Bill Ackman, so what came out yesterday was really interesting. I don't know if you followed this story on the stock donation he gave to Harvard Management Company. So I would encourage anyone to go and read, I think it was, it would have been like Tuesday night. There was kind of a thread. Apparently there was a piece in the Wall Street Journal. In the New York Times. Kind of the slant apparently was how Bill Ackman's had this like long-standing beef with Harvard.
Of course, that's the slant.
Of course it is.
In this case.
Toxic white male has beef with Harvard.
Toxic Jewish white male has
true.
beef with Harvard.
So it's really interesting. He was donating, and I want to apologize
Rich, Jewish white male.
Elder of Zion. So he donated some stock in accordance with, I think he made some sort of pledge in relation to like a specific chair or a school or something. So he donated some stock.
There it is again.
I know.
Donated.
What do you guys call it?
You're
I don't
English.
know. I don't know what's happening.
No, you said donated.
Yeah.
It's donated.
I was going to ask
You're
you.
English, bro. Like,
what's happening?
Are you
donated?
Like, are you hanging out south of the border? I mean, like,
what's happening?
what the fuck? Your English is really.
I wasn't going to say anything because I don't want it to be the same show.
Donated.
But holy
right. So anyway,
like
he donated some money.
He donated some money. He donated some money.
All right, dogs. Anyway,
Whatever.
Dude,
so
Krista's English
I know,
has surpassed yours.
surpassing mine. So
Well,
And the bar
sorry,
is
yours
low.
has.
he donated some money, and it was really interesting. He basically said to them, like, look, the stock's valued, I think, like $10 or $15 million. If this goes really well, like, and the stock ends up being worth a lot more, I think, like, with some boundaries, like, you can basically have the upside, but, I want some say on where it goes and how it's spent, whatever. And if the stock ends up being worth a lot less, like, you can kind of put it back to me at that price. So I'm basically guaranteeing you a floor. It's a great fucking offer. So I can't remember if he donated the stock at 15 million or 10 million, but he basically gave them a put option. It's like really fucking great offer for them. And Coupang, which was the company in question, IPOs, and the stock would have been worth like 85 million or somewhere in that region. And it turns out Harvard Management Company fucking sold the stock in a secondary for $10 million. So the price that he was like, I will buy it back at $10 million. They sold it in some sort of secondary transaction. They didn't tell him. So they weren't like, hey, we'll exercise the put option. They sold it to some third party. The reason for them was apparently like some sort of liquidity need. They have a $50 billion endowment, of which, if you're wondering, guys, none's allocated to us. Otherwise, we wouldn't be telling this fucking story.
So true.
So true. Yeah. So if you are an Ivy and you've done dumb shit and you think we might find out about it and you don't want it mentioned on this podcast, which is
just
watched
remember,
by
Monster Alpha lives here.
Monster Alpha lives
That's
here.
all you need to remember.
So if you don't want any of this to come out, just write us a big fucking check and we'll never talk about it.
Never.
We're whores like the rest of them.
Well, listen.
Crazy story.
Small check for you, big check for us.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, pretty crazy story about like how inept these guys are at understanding that they had a put option to Bill Ackman at the same price, gave away all the free upside. Like, what the fuck?
And again, like, I mean, that whole thing, we have a $50 billion endowment. We had a liquidity need.
Well, to be
Just
fair,
so
47
doesn't-
billion.
make
To be
sense.
fair, 47 billion is probably in private equity and private. So it's like,
Yeah, okay. Fair,
it might not really be that 50 billion-ish.
fair. And they had to provide some kind of grants for students who hate, blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
Organization. So, yeah, okay.
Pretty crazy.
That is.
Moving on, kids. Let's talk about the Woke Science Museum. This is you.
This is
No.
Carson.
This is you.
This is me. It's a real story.
Okay.
So,
Oh, wait. Okay. Yes. Go ahead.
I was in London last week, and
Yes,
I
you were.
I brought like my family accompanied me, and anyway,
We left the Monster Alpha here.
So wait,
Monster
what were you-
Alpha follows me wherever I go,
Oh God! Wait a minute. So what were you doing in London?
just like my monster cock.
Oh God! That's why you don't even need to wear a sock.
I don't need Freddy's
What sock?
cock socks.
Oh, that's not a sock.
It's not a sock. I have no idea what you're referring to.
I'm referring to. Oh, God! Do you have it on that one too? Oh,
Like
okay.
it would look a lot more manly without the space boots.
Yeah.
I do return to this.
I know. I'm confused.
It's sort of like the cock sees the pussiness of the space boots and wants to
These are
penetrate the space boots as a
These-
result.
These are cool. I stand by that.
No.
Anyway.
Um,
So wait, what were you doing in
so
London?
yeah, well, I was there for work,
I
but
know, well-
but like my family accompanied, and anyway, so we wanted to take the kids to the science museum. So I was like looking on my phone the night before we were going to the science museum just to kind of buy tickets or something, or you don't have to buy them, but to reserve. It's really cool there. Like all these museums, free admission. It's fucking
Well, you know
awesome.
why, right? Because all the things in them we stole
stolen.
from parts of the former colonies. So, like,
Not everything, as I'm about to
oh,
explain.
that's true.
So I'm on like the home page, and of the Science Museum. This is the homepage. I'm scrolling down, and there's this, not that far below the fold is this like link there called "Seeing Things Queerly." Like, huh?
I don't know the story. Go
Like,
ahead.
wait.
Queerly?
Queerly, literally, the word queerly. And so I don't know if this is like Freddy's bad English or if it's, like LGBTQ plus
Whatever, yeah.
DBC,
Yeah.
whatever. So I click on it, and it immediately it goes to this web page on their site about talking about this one former RAF World War II Spitfire pilot whose passion was also racing cars, and she, blah, 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 she, first female, or blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't think they let women fly, fighters in World War II. Like,
Right, they don't even let women drive in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
There's no chance we were that progressive.
Yeah, so then I'm reading down, and so this, this woman had been shot down by the Germans and was POW for a while and came back, had a lot of mental illness or mental issues, and then had the first gender reassignment surgery in the history of Britain performed by a trans male doctor. And like, this is an exhibit at the Science Museum. So...
Wait, hold on. I just have to digest what you just said.
Yeah,
okay.
no, seriously.
Like, that's a lot
have you even
So-
gotten to the best one yet?
Mm.
You don't remember the 18th century glass female urinal? Urinal, as you guys call them?
No, urinal was right.
Urinal.
No. But this was in the Seeing Things Queerly exhibit. Okay, so I go to the museum the next day, and it's and the rest of it, it's like it's a real science museum. It's covering like the development of the Industrial Revolution and industrial equipment, forms of propulsion, space exploration. And we didn't go into this exhibit, but it's just like, that's not science. Like, I don't fucking care. It's not science. And maybe you say, well, it's social science. But you know what? I'm sitting there going like, what? Like, first of all, okay, first problem is it doesn't belong in this science museum. Put that to the side. What is... Like, what is the action you want me? Like, what are you trying to teach me, about this? Like, why? Okay, my kids, it's great. They learn about how internal combustion engines work. They play with these other things. It's like a Tesla coil there. So they see, like, artificially generated lightning.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
What is anybody supposed to do with this exhibit? And it's just so fucking annoying. Like, I'm totally hey, you be you. Live and let live. Like, that's what works for you? Like, great. I'm happy for you. I hope it worked. I hope it makes you happy. But honestly, like, what am I supposed to, like, if somebody felt going into that museum that they should be burning trans people at the stake, like, I'm pretty, okay, and I didn't go and see the exhibit, but I'm pretty sure that exhibit doesn't change their minds.
Yeah.
Why in the fuck is that there? It's just, it's like...
Why is it there? Let's talk to the transgender person.
So
if you can still speak English, please.
Please.
For me, the best was the female urinal. So, a lot of people are focused on the gender bathroom and, what kind of signs on the door and stuff. I think this would make...
Okay, so explain to me.
So it's basically like a trough for women to stand over and pee, which... Just the imagery in my head, like, highly undignified. Here, I'll show you a picture. So this is what an 18th century...
Which also, I will say, in the space exploration exhibit, they showed how astronauts go to the bathroom there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
It's
not awesome.
What?
No.
It's not awesome.
What is happening here?
Dude, you stand over that and you pee. That is cutting edge of female urinal technology in the 18th century. Now, what you don't realize is...
It's too bad they didn't have you to open your mouth and just get below there.
What you don't realize is, Krista, we believe in gender equality here, and next year you're getting one of those.
Thank you.
There you go.
Because I've
You say we do nothing for you. That's
Now
not-
you're gonna lose the bathroom,
Wait.
except if you have to take a dump.
What?
But yeah, no, I mean, because turns out that you actually can just, this will fit in your purse.
Yeah, or under your desk.
I will have so many issues with that.
No, you won't.
Anyways.
I'm like one of these people.
And we're
like,
in Texas,
I
not California. It'll be harder for you to
up.
sue.
Like, how people have, how girls can go.
At what angles do your knees need to be flexed in order for you to?
I mean, I need to be like really close to it.
90 degree? Nah.
I swear to God, I don't know why. I don't have any
Let's
aim.
get you to practice at like 75.
Okay.
Anyways, what else have we got to talk about today, Krista?
How Marcus have awarded Jeff Ubben. Wait a minute.
Oh, not Urban.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Sorry. Before we talk about that, so because you were in London, you were at Sohn. What happened there? CNBC. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Okay.
Because everybody's calling him Shiny Carson. I don't know if you know.
No, I'm pissed about this.
What happened to Shiny Carson?
I was like, clearly my boss did 2 lines of coke before he went on. Like,
Shiny Carson?
He was so shiny. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, is he sweating? Like, what is happening?
He does get nervous.
Then, I don't know what come on. You were glowing. Beyond glowing in a weird way, not in a good way. Talk to us.
Okay.
Talk to us, Shiny Carson.
Talk to us, Shiny Carson. Tell us.
Shiny, man.
Shiny Carson.
Shiny.
No,
Where'd
I'm
this shit all
serious.
shiny?
Come on, you were.
Okay. So I just done this 15-ish minute presentation on stage there, and like the lights are on, and I'm walking around stage, like, okay, like adrenaline's going a little bit,
Yeah.
like you got to be on, right? And I come off stage, and I'm going to be doing CNBC in a few minutes. Then there's like a line of people who actually want to take like pictures with me.
I'm so annoyed I didn't take a photo. So
What?
no, Chris,
Yeah.
you gotta listen to this. He like walks
I
off,
love that shit.
and the fanboy groupies are like swarming. And
Are
it's not.
you jealous?
No, firstly, I'm super annoyed I didn't get a photo of this because
I know,
it was
I can't
truly
believe it.
like
You are
it
Charlotte.
was like truly movie star fanboy shit. So there's one person who went up to him. He was like, "Oh God," like really wanted a photo. Kind of looks at the photo, I think, and then was like, "No, another one." And insistent on getting his email, not like, "Hey, like speak." He's like, "No, really need it now. Like, send me an email." And as he's taking up Carson's time doing this like kind of crowd / like line is forming. And Charlotte, our PR person, like, "Is this happen?" I was like,
Charlotte.
more often than not. And the second best thing about it is his kids are with us, and they just walk past.
Just one of them. So actually, it's funny. Like my daughter. So I was asking her this morning. It just kind of came up, and I was like, well, it's like when those people were lining up to take pictures with me.
Pictures of
And
daddy.
She's like, huh? I'm like, you were there. It was just last week. Do you remember? Like, you were there. I was holding your hand, and then she's like, huh? No. I'm like, God damn it. It happened, I swear. But anyway.
I would think that would resonate with your son in some
Even
way.
less so.
I know, that's what he said to me.
No
I'm like, did he
fuss.
think like...
It's so funny.
No, I mean, it's, yeah, like.
He's like, no.
Like, yeah, nothing, my son bitches at me for like buying Porsches, just, that's a lot of money. Like,
What?
yeah, no, he, like.
He's the least enthusiastic
Like,
kid.
well, like he does, he expressly dislikes flying private because like it's more, he feels the turbulence more.
To be fair,
it's kinda
to be
weird.
fair,
It is kind of weird.
it is
is
kind of a
weird.
small private plane.
Yeah, it is, right. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not like, so anyway.
He did say to me, Kristen, you don't believe in social justice. I'm like, stop it. Stop.
My son said that to you?
Yes.
Oh, he was so fucking with you.
He probably does.
Oh, he was so fucking with you. So he's 10. But
He's so smart for a 10-year-old. Come on, he's like advanced.
Krista, being able to fuck with you does not mean someone's smart. He is very bright, but it just the two are not related.
Shut up, Freddy.
But anyway, so like I'm doing that, okay, and just and I'm not super comfortable in these situations. Like I never hang around if I at an event after I've spoken, just because it's like people expect you to be on, right?
Yeah.
You know, they come like in the past when I've done that. You know, if I have conversations with random people, like, oh, I was short, blah blah blah. Like, what do you think? I'm like, I don't know what the fucking what the you know, like
but
so I don't I don't like those encounters. Yeah, because it's just like I'm not that guy, like who you think I am. Like I don't know all this shit about all these things, right? So anyway,
his knowledge is very limited.
So it's like, you know, like I'm a little, you know, so I'm going through this, and then I go and do this into this other room to do the CNBC hit, and it's going to be live. It's actually 15 minutes, which is like super long, but so they've got me standing there on the marks for a while. The lights are on, and I'm not expecting them to have somebody to do makeup, but almost always,
hose you
like
down.
if you actually every other time, you know, like when I've done TV and there are people there, like a producer and what have you, like if I need a like tissue because I'm like sweating a little bit.
When I first started working for you, they had like makeup.
Yeah, no, I mean, so nobody said shit.
Did you think he was trans?
Of course I did.
Nobody said.
I was like, what pronoun is this guy going on?
Yeah, exactly. Well, back then, like, you know, it was before there were pronouns. But yeah, like nobody said a thing. And so I did my interview. I thought it went well. And then like a few days later, I started watching. I'm like, God damn. Like what? Like why didn't somebody hand me like a Kleenex or something?
I would have handed you like a towel that would have. I mean, get Kleenex. Like, no, Freddie, he was moist. I mean, like he was like he was.
Yeah, but you know what? All the women watching me, they were too.
I hate him. I give him too many opportunities. Anyway, all right.
You set that one up.
I know.
Do you know what the best thing actually about the Jeff Ubben thing is? You've actually spelt it Jeff Ubben. That's brilliant.
Yeah. Well.
Are you thinking, Keith? Are you thinking we were talking about the country singer? Was that? Yes.
Wait.
There's a country singer called Keith Urban.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's who in your head you thought we were talking about, right?
Dude, I'm impressed you know this.
Oh, listen, man, I've been down in Texas for a while now. I'm culturally attuned to what's going on here. I don't have a gun yet.
Keith Urban is not.
Is this cultural appropriation?
Keith Urban,
if I had cowboy boots, that would be.
I was going to say, like, you know, if you got Lucchese's or some shit.
Can you compare Robbie Williams to Keith Urban?
Okay, I don't know any of Keith Urban's songs. Number one.
Oh.
And Robbie Williams. Okay,
then you're not a good arbiter.
Do you know what?
No.
So let me tell you this.
I've got a Robbie Williams confession that you're going to want to hear. He had this documentary on Netflix, and I was extremely excited for it. I was on the come down from the David Beckham documentary, which was phenomenal. And I got to tell you, Robbie Williams, not that fucking cool. The whole documentary was, firstly, super weird.
First of all, I've been telling you this.
I know, we never thought he was cool.
So hang on, let's
You used to wear Maui Jims. You are not the arbiter of cool.
Well, if a dude with Maui Jims tells you Robbie Williams isn't cool, Robbie Williams isn't cool. Now, let's put it all out here. Here's another thing. Like early in the year, you and I had a debate on the Cybertruck.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, it looks so cool. I'm like, no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Let's hear the truth, bro.
The Cybertruck is not fucking cool. It is the ugliest fucking thing I've ever seen.
And neither is Robbie Williams.
He's gotten
and who fucking told you that?
But why do you think he's not cool? I want to know what
Okay,
what
so two things. Key takeaway for the year. On a relative basis,
Maui Jims are cool.
Carson has caught me up in coolness. Only because mine has come down so much.
And that's also without subtracting value from the moon boots, dude. Come on. So wait, you need to stop and think about this for a sec. Like, I'm telling you
Oh,
about the
wow.
moon boots.
2024 is going to be the year you surpass me in cool.
You gotta
Show the moon boots, but they can't do a
Well, you did that
proper-
before.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, the moon
yeah.
boots.
a
Yeah.
couple
what's
episodes
that?
ago.
That is what it is. That's exactly what you think it is.
I'm that close to it.
Okay,
See-
so Robbie Williams
See
is
dudes
giving...
who have cocks that hang down low,
Oh.
don't wear them on their socks.
So...
You got moist.
Right.
Shut the fuck
Don't
up.
lie. You got moist.
So Robbie Williams, firstly, he did the entire documentary on his bed, in his bedroom, like just lying there with his laptop,
Okay,
watching
well, I mean, that's
clips
a-
of himself, wearing Y-front underwear, like very,
Wait,
very,
what?
like
What
like
underwear?
little tidy-whitey Y-front underwear, and like
What do you? Why?
Y-fronts. You don't call
Is that
them
like
Y-fronts?
Wi-Fi or like
Y,
what's-
y is in like,
I don't know what-
Oh, like the letter Y.
Yeah, you don't call them Y-fronts. What do you call them?
Tidy whities.
Tidy whities, budgie smugglers, whatever you want to call them.
What's
Are you
that?
talking about thongs?
No, you
No,
don't know.
no, you know what tidy whities are. Like,
Yeah.
remember Risky Business?
Yeah.
Tom Cruise, Risky Business.
yes.
Yeah, tidy
Wait,
whities.
Yes.
you know
I've
what?
had-
Yeah, budgie smugglers.
You
Yes.
were probably like 30 when that came out, but you know.
33 actually.
I think I was 20.
So he's like sitting there, and this guy is like going through his whole career. It's like, yeah, I was about to perform in front of like 120 things. Like, yeah, I was really depressed then. Yeah, I was really struggling to get on stage. Then it's like him, like he's like on a bus. Women are like, I want to fuck you, I want to fuck you. He's like, yeah, that was a really depressing time as well. And then there's like other things. He signs this like $70 million contract with like EMR, and he's like, yeah, I was super low there. I'm like, fuck. I mean, just the whole thing's like.
May we
50
all be that low.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, and he's, or after I came off stage, I struggled through that. I was just like, fuck, I really don't like you anymore. So, it kind of spoiled it for me. It really
That
did.
sucks.
Should've
I'm
listened
so
to me.
sorry.
Yeah.
No, that's
Should have
hard.
listened to me.
It's hard when you put someone on a pedestal and
Just the
like,
one song, Angels. He's still on a pedestal for Angels.
But
Great
there's
song.
a lot of artists that sing that
You
song.
can't
that
put somebody
did-
on a pedestal whose name is as mundane and anodyne as Robbie Williams.
Speaking of people who belong on a pedestal, let's get on to
Jeff
Jeff
Ubben.
Ubben. So,
Yes.
Or
Jeff-
who don't belong on a pedestal.
yes.
Deserve to have the pedestal rammed up their ass.
Okay, so I will read from Bloomberg, and truth be told, we'd been onto this clown, I feel like, for a little
For
bit
a
of
while,
time. He's
How
not.
long?
I think we
Last
realized he
year?
was
Since
retarded.
2020.
Yeah, we realized
Since
he was.
2020?
Yeah, he was exhibiting signs of retardation early. So Jeff Ubben, the veteran activist investor who turned his hand to socially responsible investing at the height of the industry boom, retard, that's my actual piece, is shutting his firm after 3 years. Ubben's inclusive capital partners have started selling investments and returning money to clients with a meaningful distribution, translation, fuck all, planned for the end of the year and another in the first quarter, i.e. I really can't sell the shit that's illiquid. The decision to close inclusive
Or I'm praying there's a fucking rebound after the Fed meeting.
Yeah, exactly. Now, fine, there's lots of people who close firms and it doesn't work out well for. What I find truly repulsive about this guy is it says the 62-year-old whose inclusive capital partners told clients last week it was selling investments, blah, 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 said he's worried about what he describes as entrenched points of view preventing progress in climate talks. Then he discusses, where was the particular phrase he used? He said that markets...
I think he said markets aren't rewarding.
Yeah, I think it was markets... oh, yes. He was selling investments and returning money after not being rewarded by markets.
Now, I mean, I almost, when Freddy forwarded this story, I almost fell out of my chair because I'm like,
He fell out of his chair.
this guy, I think, is retarded and he's a billionaire.
Yes.
And he wants to cry that markets don't reward when he's fucking a billionaire for being retarded.
He's the most
Really?
rewarded
He is
individual
so-
in the history of Earth.
But no, he's not. Because markets do reward retardation all the time.
They do.
So, but I mean, he was like the most
So I have a chance.
over-rewarded, over-remunerated, overcompensated person of that day. But I mean, the guy's got, like, he's a fucking billionaire for being a moron.
Yeah.
Like all he does is go, like all he
So
did
let's
is
look
go
at his best
balls
hits.
long.
We had
Yes, let's
Nicola, total fraud.
Which he dug himself in on that one. He was on the board of directors.
Yep.
You know, like, oh, that's like, you know, Hindenburg's not true, not right, blah,
Then
blah, blah.
we had Inviva, which you know,
Blue Orca.
massive stake in. Blue Orca not only exposed that it wasn't environmentally friendly and that they were lying, it then turned out that it was also a financial scam as well.
Yep.
And this fuckwit just like ponies up, puts a bunch more money in after it becomes really obvious. So zero discipline on like the ESG bit or the capital stuff. And then on top of that, I think what probably like finally took this guy out was Bayer, right? Bayer kind of blew up the other week.
Right. So for like, and you're not saying it the wrong way. You're actually saying it the right way, but Americans say it Bayer.
Oh,
So,
okay.
like, which was stupid
Bayer.
enough to buy Monsanto,
Right.
which had all this, you know, forthcoming
Bayer.
Roundup litigation. And so Bayer's getting absolutely just incinerated
Right.
by these continued verdicts in the Roundup
But
litigation.
you know what? That's not even my favorite thing about this guy that I
No.
learned. Uban has long been an advocate of bringing big oil to the table. He joined ExxonMobil's board in 2021. He's now on the advisory committee of COP28 in Dubai, which is hosting more oil executives than any other United Nations climate summit. What a shitheel. Like, what is the point? Like, this guy is
Well,
like...
Look, I don't know. So I've got a few thoughts on that one. Number one, they'll take anybody with money.
Yes.
And he's got a lot of money. Number two, Copulate 28. I mean, we were, you know, ripping on Copulate 27 last year. But, you know, it seems like this is, you know, like COP is getting somewhat less retarded than it had been in that they're recognizing, well, it's kind of funny because carbon capture and sequestration is starting to look like a real thing. And the environmentalists have suddenly gone from, you know, like we need to make sure there are no carbon emissions to saying, no, carbon capture and sequestration, no, like it's a placebo. Like we can't, you know, we have to stop burning fossil fuels. And it's like you really have to start wondering what their agenda really is. I think their agenda is just basically to, you know, try to eliminate as many people off the earth as they can so that they can fly their PJs to like truly deserted beaches. You know, like that's what I think these motherfuckers actually want. So, so anyway.
Fly their PJs.
No, I gotta tell you,
So like
someone-
Ubben is among,
Listen,
like,
as someone who
the right
surfs,
crowd.
Deserted.
as someone who surfs, I would totally do that. Like, there's nothing
First
better than
of
a wave
all,
with no
we
one else
still
on
don't
it.
surf.
I did a bit of
Stop,
surfing in
like-
Mexico,
but
and
you know,
I,
you
That
and I,
does
you
not-
and I are
that
gonna
doesn't
have,
make you a
but-
surfer
But you and I are
anymore.
about to have a conversation with a guy at the Austin Surf Club with those artificial waves.
yeah.
that's true.
So, you know, so
Yeah.
apparently,
You do surf.
like I
Dude,
think
he's
you can
gonna be
reser-
surfing
I
too.
think you can reserve your wave.
Yeah, it's not as nice as just having a beach with a bunch of like angry surfers on either side being held away by security guards because some rich arsehole wants to close the beach down and surf by himself.
That I would pay to see.
Like that.
I don't think it really works that way. That I would
with
pay
like
to
the
see.
shark nets either side, like with the tangled surfers in them, so that like, and there I am, like on my like 3-foot wave at best, like thinking I'm absolutely ripping it. Yeah, that's what I would spend my money on if I had enough.
I would pay to see like wealthy dudes show up at the beach with like real security and just like all the surfers are like, no, dude, man, like I've been here for like 8 years. That's my wave, motherfucker. That would be pretty
That'd be so
sweet.
good.
That'd be sweet.
Like that's how I imagine Dan Loeb surfs, like, you know, surrounded
Ooh,
by
yeah.
bodyguards. That's fucking dope.
On their own boards.
Yeah, probably just.
But they all know they have to wipe out before he does. Like, don't make him look bad. Like, don't, you know, catch
That'd
this
be
ride
dope.
longer than he does.
That'd be awesome. Dan
Yes.
Loeb, if you are watching, which you probably do, like all wealthy billionaires.
Well, when we were in
Please
London, like
confirm.
you had some people like come up to you and talk about, you know, the podcast. This, right?
Is that true?
That's true. There were a couple. A couple
Were there
people
billionaires?
requested.
The only two people who weren't in line to take pictures with me.
They were like, so what do you do here? I was like, I'm with the Monster Alpha guys. Like, just that's what I do. Anyways, what else we got, Krista?
Super pig invasion looms from Canada, descending on North America. I read this. You sent this to me. You don't remember, do you?
You know, I honestly can't remember what was going on with the super pigs.
No,
truth be
basically,
told.
it's we're gonna.
I just can't remember.
It's the next.
Were you drunk or
Really?
high?
You're like, you
Jet
got
lagged.
to put this
Oh,
in.
jet lagged, yeah,
and I
that's-
read it, and I was like, huh,
That's like all of the above on steroids. I have to
Yeah.
say.
I'm like, all right.
I honestly can't remember the super pigs.
What
Okay.
about the Belgians reject African female Santa Claus?
Oh yeah, so this is cool
Yeah,
because
talk about that.
I, being Jewish, never believed in Santa Claus, but like I
What
wasn't
he
allowed.
said was
And your life
he
was
being
less rich.
Jewish,
Yes.
Less rich for
never
it.
However-
believed in Santa Claus.
Santa Claus is a beautiful lie.
Yes.
Kids.
It's
It's
a
a beautiful lie.
yeah.
And as discussed, the coolest thing about it was that idea for like having the fake present under the tree, and if kids are naughty, like throwing the fake present in
Yes.
fire.
I'd love to bring this up.
That's
No one
awesome.
does.
That's
But,
great, yes.
It's just
So what's
fabulous.
going on in Belgium is pretty awesome. So they wanted to have the Telegraph reported the people of Ghent have pressured the mayor to call off the appearance of Queen Nicola, a
Yeah.
character created by artist Laura, I'm not even going to try and pronounce her surname, who has reworked Christmas fables about Santa for the event. So Santa was going to be dressed in the colors of the Palestinian flag.
Oh my
Even
god.
the article says,
Yeah.
Oh my
for
god.
some, even the article says,
did you read-
for some reason. Even the author
Yeah, I
was
know,
thinking, what the
I
fuck,
read
okay?
this because you sent this. to me.
So Queen Nicola announced, I dream of a Belgium liberated from colonial ideology and a society without
P.S.
discrimination.
We never
What?
showed up because they like rejected. her.
Shut the fuck up.
So good. So she was going to have a dress. The whole thing was going to be absolutely...
P.S.
Horrific. Horrible.
You know what?
Jesus
yeah.
She's our
Christ.
next guest on ZFG,
Oh,
everybody.
I would love it.
Come
Please.
on.
Please.
Yeah,
We need
so
to get
I'm pretty
more of your-
sure Gert Wilders is going to be putting an end to that pretty fucking fast. He doesn't seem
Different
like...
country, but that's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like he's going to be into like woke Santa Claus. Oh yeah, it's a different... same. Belgian, Holland, whatever.
I mean,
I
if
feel like
they're,
it's-
if they're not French, they're fucking like Flemish. They're
Yeah,
Dutch,
exactly.
whatever.
So yeah, that's what you got if you are Belgian and
Actually,
Good
it turns
time.
out that's a great insult for like the Flemish Belgians is to refer to them as French. So
huh.
back in '98, I just
Good to
graduated.
know.
I just graduated school, and we're riding train up to Amsterdam because we just hit the continent and got to fucking score some weed
Yeah.
because we were like in London for
should
2
go to
days with no
Amsterdam
weed,
together.
and that's just horrific.
Horrible.
So we're on the way up there, just chilling, right? And conductor, like comes up, is like asks for the tickets, and I'm reading a book, and I just hand him I'm with two girls and hand him the tickets, and he's like, "Ugh, these are not validated. Yeah, you see this box?" And I'm like, "What?" It says tickets must be validated. Like, I saw that, but I didn't understand what that meant. Like, I paid money for the ticket. I would think that makes it valid. And it turns out that at least at the time in the Urinal stations, there was like a machine you had to stick the fucking thing in to go like stamp it, right? So I didn't do it. So, but I'm not fussed. Like, I'm in a good mood. I just want to read my book, and I'm just thinking of all
Just
the
wants to read his
just
book.
all the fucking sweet fucking indica I'm gonna smoke, and I'm just like, all right, man, like, how much? And he tells me, so I just, hand him the money. I don't give a fuck, right? And he's like, you Americans always like this. Like, starts like shit you not, right? And he's got a clipboard covering his name tag. And now all of a sudden I put my book down. I'm like, what? Like, what's your name? And I'm like, he's like, I'm not gonna, no, come on, like, don't stop covering up your name tag. Let me see that. He drops the clipboard and says, M. Pousseau. I'm like, oh, French, that figures. He's not French. He flies off the fucking handle. And so anyway, like just yells
What
at me.
is
I'm
he?
yelling at him. So
P.S.
So like, and I think I'm ultimately like, fuck you, get the fuck out of here, right? Like literally.
Yeah.
So he fucks off, and then this woman who's sitting behind us comes up, and she's like, hey, I just want to apologize for him. That was totally inappropriate on his part. Tell your tourists, and just as somebody who's also Flemish, I'm embarrassed for him. I'm like, oh, was he Flemish? She's like, yeah, he was. I'm like, oh, he seemed to really not enjoy it when I called him French. She's like, no, he didn't. So anyway, that's, if you really want to needle those guys,
Call him French.
call them French.
There you go.
Which I
So for
understand.
anyone who's
French.
going on holiday
Which I
this
understand.
year,
Like, if you called me French, I'd be pretty fucking irritated too.
So for anyone who's going on holiday who listens to this and was originally going to visit Woke Santa Claus, gets there and find out that there is no
Well,
Woke
no, they
Santa
canceled
Claus.
her.
Yeah. And
I mean,
but if you
yeah.
go and you're upset that there is no Woke Santa Claus and you really want to piss the people off, just call them French. There you go.
Exactly right.
I call people French all the time. Every time I
And
do this.
don't validate your
But
ticket.
she's coming on our next show.
Reach out, like make it happen.
Make it happen.
Then I would be up here.
Truth be
Right now I'm
told,
here.
she's probably so booked up in California. Like it's so
Oh,
hard to imagine she's probably
she's
backed
like,
up.
listen, I'm in Cali for 2 months.
Yeah, she's got Russian Orthodox Christmas coming up. That's big for Woke Santa
Oh, I'm
Claus.
sure.
All right, so our last
would be a
item
big fan.
is a woman who threw food at a Chipotle manager, sentenced to work in fast food. You sent this. I couldn't read it. I think it was.
Like taking remedial phonics might help.
What
No, you know
happened?
what? Like this is one of these marginal topics. Like I think we've had a good show. We've covered
had
what we
a
need to
great
cover
show.
for the
Yeah,
year.
we don't need the filler.
Yeah.
We've hit
So-
the big
Oh,
ones.
is that what he's saying?
Yeah. Just I can't
Let's-
read. Like
yeah,
the
I
fact
can't
that you
read.
can't read is
No, I
the
can
headline.
read. I just say.
Well,
Guys, should we
not
give
everything.
him a sneak preview of what we've got coming next year?
Sure.
Okay, guys, so if you're thinking what should you be looking for next year, Woke Santa Claus. We've got Contra-indicators with Jeff Ubben, and what else have we got coming, Krista? Your new tits. So
My new
guys,
tits.
tune in. It's going to be
this-
great,
well,
and more.
More
And
monster,
more
Monster
the
Alpha.
Monster
Monster
Alpha,
Alpha.
never
Coming
ever
to
leaves
you.
us. Monster Alpha is always here.
Always here, but it's gonna be more.
That's right.
More and more and more. All right.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for joining us. Cheers.
Merry.
Happy
Christmas,
holidays.
Hanukkah.
Happy holiday.
It's a much better. It's such a
No,
sweet
much
lie.
better.
I hope you
Hanukkah,
tell your
happy
kids the
Hanukkah.
lie.
Hanukkah.
All right.
We love Hanukkah here. I have to say
Cheers.
that.
Happy New Year.
Cheers. Cheers.